Yo, what is up? Suda coming to you once again. Another video. This video is going to be the death of me. This video is going to cover something that I've been requested plenty of times. I've avoided it, like the plague or the Spanish flu or whatever you're taught in school is something that you should avoid. And for me, that thing is water. I really hate water. I really hate water. Even back in AoE 3, I hated water. I don't know what it is. It's just what is it? What is it I don't like about water? I don't know what it is, honestly. I like being a macro player and I like playing macro heavy, and so I don't like water. That doesn't make sense. But I don't like water, and I try and avoid it as much as I can. If you think about the maps, really, there's only one map that water's really required. I mean, yeah, you can argue like the Treasure Island map, there's water on it, but like the fishing spots aren't that great, and it's kind of off to the edge, and so it's like kind of meh. You can kind of avoid it if you want. Big Island is awkward, I guess, because the rush distance is pretty big, but it's also a long ways around that island, so I mean, you can kind of avoid water if you want there. Oasis, ever since they made the change where you can walk on water, water's just not been an option on that map, so the one map that I think all players in the game will agree that water's pretty much mandatory on is Coastal. And so that's going to be the focus of this game, and this game is going to be how to win games on Coastal. Honestly, when it comes to any of the other maps, I just skip water. And so if you're saying, like, hey, what do you suggest to do on water on Treasure Island, or what do you suggest to do on water on circle map thingy, what's it called? Brain freeze. Big Island, that one. Honestly, I'm personally going to say I skip it. I don't do it. There's a lot of players that do it, and if you do it well, and if you do it without dying, the thing is, a lot of times if you go water there, you're probably pretty susceptible to early pressure, and you might just die, which isn't cool either. So, but Coastal, you have to go water on Coastal because it's so much map control. If you have Coastal water, you have so much eco, so much map control. Pretty much, if you win the water, the game's over. I mean, when I lose water on that map, it's like Alt F4, boom, start a new game. I'm out of here. Like, you you lose water on that map, unless you're like doing something super sneaky that the other guy don't know about, like maybe you're like got a super fast early age 3, or you've got 20 cav inside his base or around back or something. Like, if you fought water and you've lost it on Coastal, might as well just give up because the game's pretty much over. But that being said, how do you win water on Coastal, because it's so important? And so that's what this video is going to be about. This video is from the point of view of Greek. You can see it's against Celt, Greek versus Celt. I don't know that this is necessarily a Greek-specific video, though, because a lot of the same ideas, especially, go pretty much directly to Persians. And in some ways, I guess, to the other civs as well. But you can see the early start on Coastal, really, the economy setup is pretty much the same as it would be on, say, Equal Footing, Sheltered Pass, any of the other maps. Coastal in general has moderately good hunts. They're not great, but you usually have one pretty decent hunt. Your tree line in the back, one thing to note is don't use the trees in the back. The trees in the back are like really patchy and skinny and like really ugly. And so I try and avoid those as much as I can. So you can see kind of when I go back to my scout, like how ugly and thin those are. But I mean, pretty much the early game start is pretty much going to be like the same as what it is in like Greek 101. So if you haven't watched that video, go watch it. It's educational. But yeah, so you want to just scout your secondary resources, 3 on food, 3 or 4 on wood, 1 or 2 more on food, and then the rest on wood. And you're going to try and age as early as you possibly can. And that value, depending on how much walk time you have between your resources, can be as early as 12. Average, I would say, is 13, and as late as 14. I wouldn't really try and do anything later than 14. If you're aging later than 14, then you're probably going to lose that early trireme war, because he's going to have like a boat and a half out when you're just getting your first one out. Like, he's just going to be that far ahead in production on you that it's going to be hard for you to win. Speaking of, where I'm coming from with all this, me and Sam played a couple games on this map, and I've talked around, and I think for the most part we kind of agree that this is the best way to play this map, and the best way to play water in general is to try and get the early trireme advantage and then boom on water afterwards. I see a lot of people, you don't know how many games I play on ladder, that end up being on coastal, and the player might not even be bad. It's just that he goes like 4 fishing boats, and then, like super late age up. And if he's making 4 fishing boats, and I come with a trireme at 3 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever it is, I mean, boom, like he's just dead. Like, when he gets his first fishing or his first warship out, I'm probably gonna have 2 or 3, and I've won so many games on this map just simply for that reason, is because I get it out so much earlier. So you can see right at 3 minutes, boom, I've got the first trireme training. I would say that's a pretty good spot to try and get your first trireme queued up by. It's around 3 minutes. I say that's pretty average for coastal if you're doing this build. Notice I'm still doing all the normal little things. I'm still doing getting the wood upgrade so that I can enhance my eco. I'm not getting housed, which is really, really important on this map. It's really important to not get housed. Triremes are really pop heavy, and if you don't make houses, you're going to get popped and you're going to fall behind and you're going to lose water. So I would say, of all the macro things to focus on when you're on water, I would say the most important one is to not get housed. And even though it may seem moderately trivial, even if you're housed for 10 seconds, like those 10 seconds that he has 3 warships to your 2 are a huge advantage for him. A huge, huge, huge advantage. So I'm going to pause it right here. You can see I've got 30 pop. I've got triremes queued up. Notice how my resources are 46, 63, 14. You want to shoot for that kind of a look. You want nuts across the board. You want zeros all the way across, if possible. That means you're macroing well, is when you have zeros across the board. So you can see here Vix, obviously he's in his own little world, like spamming watch posts. I just told him to do whatever he wanted while I made this video. Ideally, you would be at this point. I mean, some people aren't even going to be aged at this point on this map. Especially if they go really early water. And if they've gone really early water, you just go with your 2 triremes, you push, and you kill all their fishing boats, and you camp right on top of their dock. And as soon as their boats come out, you just kill their boats as soon as they come out. But yeah, just continuing to do all the little things right. As soon as I have a little extra wood, you can see I'm starting to bank up wood because I've got all my new villagers going to wood. As soon as I see, I've got a trireme in queue. It's queued up. I'm good on houses. I've got enough for at least, this villager to finish, the next villager, another trireme to queue up. So I'm not really hurt for wood. So what do? Boom, I drop the gold upgrade. And I would say that's around when you want to get the gold upgrade. You definitely want to get the wood one as soon as you age up, but it's kind of work the gold upgrade in around 17, 18, 20 vills. So, and from there, then you can do other things. If the water's going prolonged, this would be around the time of when you would want to start dropping another dock. Continuing to not get houses, dropping another dock, keeping up the spam, making sure that you win water, because remember, if you win water, you pretty much win the game. You take a look at the map, and look at the mini-map. If you look at these little narrow alleyways that he's going to have to cross just to get over your side of the map, like here's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's like 4 little choky spots that you can drop your triremes on, and he's going to lose a boatload of units just trying to get through that, or else he's going to go all the way around. And if he's going all the way around, like, he's fighting, already the game's pretty campy, and the person with the better replace time and the longer rush distance is kind of at an advantage. But I mean, if he's got to go all this way around to avoid getting hit by your triremes, yeah, that's definitely cool beans for you. So, dropping a second dock around 35 to 40 pop, I would say, is advisable if you're still in a prolonged water fight. If you're not in a prolonged water fight, if you've won water, there's no need to make another dock. You can start making fishing boats. You can start make sure that you scout. Scouting is important at this point in the game, and I'll tell you why. If you just continue to overmass fishing, or fishing boats and triremes on water, and he masses up 20 cav and comes and sieges your TC, and you don't have a barracks, you can be in a lot of trouble. So, just doing all the normal smart things, scouting, not getting housed, like all those little things. I know I say it almost every game or every video, and someone like complained to me, says, you say all the same things every single video. And I wouldn't say the same things if I didn't think they were important, honestly. Like, how often do I talk about, like, the effectiveness of killing your cattle properly or something like that? I don't, because it's just not important. Who cares? But honestly, not getting housed and scouting, like, 2 really simple things that everyone can improve on. Water's good, so good. But yeah, so that's kind of the gist of this video. So remember, 3 onto food, 3 onto wood, 1 or 2 more onto food, and then the rest over to wood until you've reached 13 pop. 12, 13, 14 on one of those 3 pops. The earlier you can get up, the earlier you can get that chip out over there, the better. I did it a couple times with Sam tonight. Once I was able to do it on 12 pop. That was when I had a really close hunt and really good wood. I would say on average shoot for 13 and get that trireme over there as early as you can. The earlier you get that trireme out, the earlier you can build your advantage. And then once you've won water, this is maybe even the most important part. Once you've won water or once you've lost water, stop playing on it. I mean, if you've won water, yeah, you can make fishing boats, but for the love of God, don't make 10 more triremes, to like be like, I've got water, now I'm just going to sit here with 30 triremes that are sucking up pop, right? When you've won water, know that you've won water and stop making military units on water. If you've lost water, on the same hand, know that you've lost water and stop throwing away resources on it. I see people do that a lot too. They've lost water and they just keep trickling out triremes into a group of 4 triremes and just keep throwing away resources. So I think that's what I want to say about water. Oh yeah, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. I think I just kind of stop here and start stacking res. But I wanted to say a quick note on how you go about microing. Warships. Warships are kind of like these clunky units that have these weird characteristics about them. And one of the strange characteristics about them is their arrows can miss. They're the only unit in the game where their arrows can miss. And so in the water fights, it's really important to be constantly moving your triremes in between attacks. And I think I show that briefly here. You always want to be like, you want to stop an attack, and then as soon as you're done attacking, you want to keep it moving. And you want to stop an attack, and as soon as it's done attacking, you want to keep it moving. You want to move it back and forth. You want to try and void as much as possible. You can see there's the fire animation and move. The second the fire animation goes off, you want to be moving. And you see how these arrows, the second the arrows go, you move the ship. The second the arrows go, you move the ship. And so you always want to be moving the ships, especially the ones that are getting focus fired. And if you can identify which ones are being focus fired and move those ones, and keep the other ones in place shooting stationary objects, that's how you win water. That's how you win microfights on water. So that's kind of something you just have to get a feel for. It's really hard to describe in a video, but if you do it enough times, you'll kind of get the feel for it and the stop and go mechanic of the triremes. So trireme early, trireme often. Once you've won it, stop on water. Once you've lost it, stop on water. What else is important on water? Don't let the other guy like ninja dock up. I've played some games where like I'll lose water and then I'll like ninja dock along the side in age 3 and get like 3 fire ships and just kill everything they have on water and just like take water back for myself. Don't let that happen. Strategically place your triremes, get a good idea of what's going on, and just abuse it as hard as you can. I mean, water's really abusive. It's really easy to abuse it once you've won it. So, abuse it. I think that's all for this video. Hopefully you picked up a couple tips on water. If not, I don't really care because I don't really like water. Whenever I get water, I usually feel like shoot me. Just get me out of here. Can I just Alt F4 and start over? Give me equal footing any day of the week. But that's the end of my rant. That's the end of this video. Water in a nutshell. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I've officially reached 100 YouTube subscribers, so for all the subscribers, thanks, you're great. Peace out.